Okay, so it's time for another fun video of the month, and I'm really excited to do this because we're really close to the end of February, and the last time I did a fun video was right at the beginning of February, so let's just get right into this. I am doing the rapid fire book tag today. So, there are many questions here, about 41, so let's see how many we can get through rapid fire, so let's get right into it. Question 1. Favourite book/series you read recently? Well, if they're talking about a completed series, I'd have to say Harry Potter. But if it's uncompleted series, then I would definitely go with Mistborn, for sure. You guys know how much I love my Mistborn. Question 2. Least favourite book/series you recently read? Oh gosh. Least favourite book. Probably Succubus Blues. I ended up DNFing it because I just found it to be incredibly boring and it just did not deliver what I wanted out of the book. So, yeah, least favourite book, Succubus Blues by Rochelle Mead. I do love the author, did not love the book at all. Books you hated. Hate is a very strong word. But let's see. Books that I hated. I mean, probably all the ones that I DNF'd, to be honest. But I don't think they got to the level of hatred for me. If I hated a book, you would know about it, but I don't think there are any books that I hate. I think that's way too strong a word. Books that I disliked include The Magician's Guild, The Kiss of Deception, all the ones that I DNF'd. I disliked them, but I didn't hate them. Favorite fantasy/urban fantasy/paranormal? Oh gosh, well, it'd be fantasy, and my favourite fantasy is Mistborn. Mistborn's the final empire, which I have read. And I'm going to be reading Well of Ascension so soon, 1st of March, woo! Favourite contemporary? I don't know if I have a favourite contemporary. I don't read a lot of contemporary books, so that could very well change, though, next month. More to come in my March TBR. But I can't answer that one at the moment, so we'll skip that one. Favorite thriller/mystery? Probably the Dead Girls Detective Agency. It is a mystery. It was not my favorite book, but it will probably be my favorite mystery book because I don't read a lot of thriller or mystery, but I actually liked that book, so I'll go with that one. Favorite non-fiction? I believe it's called On the Court, which is a biography. Sorry, it's either a biography or an autobiography, one of the two, on Serena Williams. Absolutely love her as a tennis player and loved reading that book. So that's my favorite non-fiction. Favorite classic? I don't read a lot of classics, but I'll probably at the moment say the Famous Five series. I'm getting more into classics as of next month, but from what I read when I was younger, Famous Five series by Enid Blyton. Favorite female character in books? Ooh, it's a tough one. It'd either be Vin from Mistborn or it would be Hermione Granger from Harry Potter. I love my female protagonists that are headstrong, and Vin, without giving away the book, Vin does not start off as a headstrong character in the Final Empire, but certainly by about the halfway point, she's very strong-headed, and I really appreciate that. Favorite male character? Oh gosh, I mean, do I want to say Harry Potter? Do I want to just make it all Harry Potter? Seriously? I'm trying to think outside of Harry Potter. Actually, you know what? Go back to Mistborn. My favorite male character of all time has to be Kelsier. Oh my god, I love that guy. Absolutely amazing. My second favorite would either be Remus Lupin from Harry Potter because of just how soft-natured he is, or Dumbledore, or Christian Ozera from Volume 1 of the Vampire Academy. Least favourite male character? Can I say Professor Dumbledore in the film The Goblet of Fire? Probably not, but if you've read the books and seen the films, you know what I mean. He is very aggressive in the film, but he's not in the book. So, as far as books are concerned, least favourite male character? Oh gosh, I don't think there's a lot of male characters that I dislike, to be honest. This would be a really tough one to think about. I might pause and give it a thought and come back since it's meant to be rapid fire. Just a moment. All right, we're back. I took a moment to think, and my least favourite male character is... And I just had it on the tip of my tongue. Cornelius Fudge from Harry Potter. The fact that he is able to just ignore so much about the Dark Lord really upset me, and so I just did not like him. He's able to sweep so many things under the rug and really not care about certain things, so that really upset me. My least favourite female character would have to be... I'm trying not to cough here. Would have to... Sorry, because I'm a bit under the weather. Would have to be Franny from Personal Demons. Franny provides a human perspective to a book that's a dual perspective book, and the other perspective is about a demon. So I just found her character to be boring at times, but also she made a lot of terrible decisions along the way. So least favourite female character would have to go to Franny from Personal Demons. Favourite diverse... I read that as Disney. So just quickly... Favourite Disney character, Aladdin. But anyway, favourite diverse character. Oh, gosh. Diverse character. Oh, yeah, what's her name? Triss. Triss from Divergent. Very diverse. She is divergent, so, very diverse. And absolutely love her. So I'd go with her for that one. Favourite villain, Jafar from Aladdin. And yes, I have read the book, so yeah, that does count. Absolutely love Jafar. I know he's such a maniacal character, but I do love him. There's a lot of other villains that I love, but I love Jafar. Least favourite villain. The Lord Ruler from The Final Empire. I just didn't find him interesting. The final battle, which there is one in The Final Empire, as you would expect, there will be a final battle. The final battle is an interesting battle, but for most of the book... You see him in certain points, but you don't really get to see a lot about him at all. And so he's meant to come across as someone who's so menacing and really hard to defeat, where all I want to do is storm the castle, I'm Australian, storm the castle and defeat him. So because of the fact that we don't see him enough, but yet he's portrayed to be this incredibly tough villain to beat, no. Least favourite villain. Favourite pet or companion? Crookshanks from Harry Potter. Very underestimated animal, very intelligent animal. Sirius Black gives Crookshanks so many props. Just a moment, sorry. Okay, sorry, my timer went off there, so I had to go take care of that. But yeah, Crookshanks the cat in Harry Potter. Sirius Black gives Crookshanks compliments about how smart a cat she, I think it's a he, anyway, is. So definitely my favourite companion, a pet/companion would have to be Crookshanks from Harry Potter. Name the first 3 awesome books you can think of. Well, Mistborn, absolutely. The Final Empire. Harry Potter and I don't even know really. All of them are pretty good. Let's just say the Harry Potter series. Because they're all pretty good in my opinion. And... Gosh, it's a tough one. I'm trying to think and I really can't think. So let's go 2 Harry Potter ones. Order of the Phoenix, for sure. And Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. A very underrated book, but I actually love the 3rd book in the series. For most of the reasons that people don't like the book, I do. So, yeah, I'll go with that. Name the first 3 bad books you can think of. Oh, gosh. Well, definitely Succubus Blues. The Replacement, considering how much I've read so far now in February, The Replacement definitely has to go down as a bad book for me, I'm sorry. And one more. The Magician's Guild, only because it just didn't work for me. I didn't like the writing style, and I just did not enjoy the story. I ended up DNFing it. I just didn't enjoy the story. I don't DNF all the books that I don't like. I end up reading all of The Replacement. It had a good ending, but 3/4 of the book just didn't intrigue me at all. Okay, ebook. Question 20 we're now up to. Ebook, physical book, paperback, or hardback? Look, certainly physical book. Do I go with paperback or hardback? Oh, look, they're both good. Probably paperback. I probably prefer paperback. But I'm not a fan of ebooks because to me, I love tangibly. I don't have a book near me, which is so odd because I'm in my lounge room. But I love the feel, the smell, all the senses um, that you can have from holding a physical book rather than using a phone or a tablet or a computer. So, yeah, definitely physical book, paperback for me. Question 21. Favorite time of day to read? Nighttime when everyone else is in bed and it's completely silent because any type of noise in the background is going to distract me. If I do feel that I need to read during the day in order to get a certain amount of reading done, I will put on my headphones and basically play some kind of naturistic music in the background, like maybe rain or something, or underwater noise or something, just to try and block out as much of the surrounding noise as I can. But definitely nighttime when everyone's asleep and there's just no noise at all, so quiet you can hear a pin drop. That's my favorite time of day to read. Favorite place to read? It's a tough one. I don't think I have a favorite place to read. I read in my home. I also read on a bench near my work during breaks. So I don't know if I have a favorite place to read necessarily. Probably at home. Online or in-store book shopping? That's actually a really good question because I would have to say without a doubt that I prefer in-store book shopping because then I get to browse and look at all the books. But I have not had the chance to properly browse a bookstore for a long time. At one stage this month, I went into a bookstore, but I had like 5 minutes in that store, and that's all the time I had. So it just really didn't work for me. But I much prefer to in-store buy, but I haven't had the time. So I have been buying, the books that I bought, which haven't been a lot, online. Although in saying that, I bought books from my own store, and I have had the chance to browse them because I work with them all day, every day. So I know what we have and all that kind of stuff. So, but I do prefer in-store book shopping. Okay, let's keep going because this is meant to be rapid fire. Trilogy or series? I think it all comes down to the type of book it is. You know, do they know when to stop and finish it, or do they keep going when there's no story there? So with Harry Potter, I'm so glad that it was not a trilogy. Believe that Mistborn is, but I could be wrong on that. But I haven't read all of them, so I would say that it comes down to the series itself. I can't give an actual answer on that one. Heroes or villains? Generally, I tend to go with the hero because generally the protagonist is a hero, but in saying that, there are some villains that I can understand their perspective and why they are doing what it is they're trying to do. I alluded to Jafar a little bit earlier, and he's a wonderful example of that. Despite the fact that he is portrayed in the film as such a menacing character, there is a play that they came up with called The Royal Vizier, which talks about his reasons as to why he's trying to do what he can do. He believes that he can run the city of Agrabah so much better than the Sultan. And bless the Sultan, he's a great character, but there's a lot of flaws that come with the Sultan if you're going to look at it neutrally. So I understand what Jafar is doing. So it's not to say that I don't appreciate villains, it's just normally I go for the hero. Okay, a book you want everyone to read. Mistborn, The Final Empire. I was obsessed with that book, and if you love fantasy with hard magic systems, I'm sure that you are going to be as well. Okay, recommend recommend an underrated book. Helen Keller's Teacher. Such an amazing read about the life of Annie Sullivan and also how she became the miracle worker she did to assist someone like Helen Keller, who is deaf, blind, and mute. It was an amazing book to read. It's 153 pages long. It's middle grade, but oh my god, it was amazing. So definitely recommend that one. The last book you finished was The Dead Girls Detective Agency. The last book you bought, oh gosh, the last book I bought was, I don't even know. Honestly, I don't know. It would have been a book from my store, and I buy so many from my store that I don't remember. How are we doing for time? We're doing actually really good. Weirdest thing you have used as a bookmark? My phone. When I temporarily was setting the book aside just to quickly go and do something that would take like 1 minute, Sorry that I said like there. When I was temporarily setting a book down that I was reading to go and do something just for 1 minute, I quickly slid my phone into the pages so that, I wouldn't lose my spot. That'd be about the weirdest thing I've used as a bookmark. Generally speaking, I use bookmarks. I don't like to fold down the pages. Used books, yes or no? Absolutely yes. I believe in giving books a second chance at life, and I've become well aware, for many and varying reasons, that not everyone is of this belief, and that's totally fine, but I absolutely am. If I have read a book that I'm no longer interested in, I'm going to be the first to donate it to someone or to somewhere so that it can get a second chance at life. So absolutely yes on used books. Top 3 favorite genres: fantasy, supernatural, and that pretty much covers it. But fantasy, supernatural, and not necessarily detective, but mystery can be okay if it is done really, really well. So for me, I loved Pretty Little Liars. Some people say it's a guilty pleasure, but honestly, I don't feel guilty at all about PLL. But I felt that Pretty Little Liars, the mystery side of Pretty Little Liars was done really, really well. The reveals, not so much, but the mystery behind it was done really well in the books. So it is a show as well, but in the books, yes, it was done really well. Okay, borrow or buy? Both. Absolutely both. Preference being borrow, because I don't have a lot of money. But if you have a lot of money, absolutely buy your own books and have your own fresh set collection, or buy some secondhand books. Give books a second chance at life. I'm a firm believer in that, as I just said. But I much prefer to borrow because I don't have a lot of money, and I have spent a ton of money on books this year alone, so definitely prefer to borrow. Characters or plot? Absolutely plot. I want to be invested in the characters, but I feel that should be a given anyway, that I should be invested in the characters. If I love the plot, then I should love the characters that go along with said plot. Very unpopular opinion here. I love the Harry Potter series, but I did not like Ron after probably about the first 2 books. And I know that's a very unpopular opinion, but I just really didn't like him. Anyway, and when J.K. Rowling said that she thought many times about killing Ron, my first thought was, well, why didn't you? Because I actually would have been okay with that. And that's nothing against Ron. I just didn't like him personally. So definitely plot for me. Long or short books? This is an it depends situation. It depends on the story. Is the story a long story is the book a long book because there's a lot of filler in the book? Then I wish it was a short book. A great example of this would have to be, I have many, but let's go with Personal Demons. Actually, you know what? Even better, let's go with The Replacement. I feel like the first 100 pages of The Replacement could have been cut out and we could have started on page 101. I say this in the review and also in the reading vlog for that book. So if it's long because there's so much filler that detracts from the premise of the book, I prefer it to be a shorter book. But if the book is long because there's just so much that is going on and it all revolves around the actual premise of the book, then yeah, I'm more than happy to read a long book. Mistborn is 600 and something odd pages. So was The Magician's Guild, but I didn't get through that one. So I have no problems reading tomes or anything like that. That's totally fine. But again, is it long because it has filler, or is it long because there's just so much to tell within the actual plot and premise of the book? So there we go. Books that made you laugh or cry. The Dead Girls Detective Agency, while there were some issues that I had with the book, every time that the main character had an internal monologue showing her dry wit and sense of humor, I laughed every time. So if you want a funny book for the sake of, well, that part of the book anyway, then I would definitely recommend The Dead Girls Detective Agency because it made me laugh all the time. As far as cry, oh my god, Mistborn, I cried so many times towards the end, and I'm not really a crier, but I have been this year. But Mistborn, the way that there's a couple of things that happen towards the end that I cried. And then and then right at the end, the last paragraph, I started sobbing, and then it turned into full on crying at the end of the very last paragraph of the first book. So definitely Mistborn for so many reasons, but definitely for the cry category. Not necessarily for the laugh category, but definitely for the cry category. Our world or fictional worlds. In other words, Humanlandia or non-Humanlandia. And I definitely prefer fictional worlds. I know that there are a lot of people, a lot of readers out there who want to read things that are relatable and who don't appreciate books that, that wouldn't make sense in our world. Like, oh, we wouldn't do that. And, that's not an accurate depiction of how things will be these days. To me, that's not what I think about when I pick up a book. When I pick up a book, I want to be dropped into a completely fictitious land that I know nothing about and that does not at all represent everyday living. So this is an easy one for me, and it's definitely fictional worlds rather than our world. Audiobooks, yes or no? This is interesting. Had you asked me this in 2019, I would have flat out said no. Now, towards the end of February 2020, I definitely say yes. Audiobooks are great to listen to on their own. They're also great to listen to with the accompaniment of the original book. They're also wonderful if you start reading a book and you find the book really hard to read. Maybe you're not entertained by it, or maybe you're finding the writing style really difficult to read. Mistborn's a great example of this. The first couple of pages, I found it really tough to read because I wasn't used to Brandon Sanderson's writing style. Then I found graphic novels version of Mistborn, the audiobook, and would read along as I was listening to the audiobook. By the time I got to halfway through the listening to the audiobook and reading along with it, I found that I was very easily able to read the book on its own, as well as listen to it with the audiobook. So audiobooks, an absolute yes, and I am finally part of Audible, woohoo! So, yeah, definitely would say yes for audiobooks. But I will make this point. It is not my primary focus. I want to, and I prefer to, read a book that is easy and simple enough for me to read without needing an audiobook to accompany it. So I will only use an audiobook as a last resort, or if I think the audiobook will enhance the experience, which with Graphic Audio's version of Mistborn audiobook, it is a Mistborn's Final Empire audiobook. It is absolutely amazing because Graphic Audio's audiobooks they have this tagline, a movie for your mind, and it very much is. So it's not just the narrator who does everything, but there's the narrator, and then there are all these other cast members that are hired to play the roles of different characters. There are sound effects, like no tomorrow. There is music in certain scenes that really sets the tone. Like, oh my gosh. So if it enhances the reading experience, absolutely I'm for it. But otherwise, I'm more than happy to, first and foremost, read the physical book on its own. Okay. Do you ever judge a book by its cover? Guilty. Yes, I do. I will look at a book, and if it does not intrigue me, I will put it down. However, I will also be able to look at a cover, whether I like the cover or not, and know if it's a fantasy. And I wasn't able to know that right away last year, but now I am, because fantasy covers have a certain style to the cover, and not just a fantasy, mythological creatures or whatever style, but there is a certain way that the cover is drawn and the title looks that alerts you to the fact that this is definitely a fantasy and not a contemporary or a mystery or a romance or whatever it is. So I can detect that. If I come across a fantasy book and I don't like the cover, I may still turn it to the back of the book and look at the blurb to see if I'm going to like it. But most of the time, yes, I will judge a book by its cover. Name a movie or TV show where you preferred the book. Oh, wow. I'm going to give you two. TV show / Snapchat show. The Dead Girls Detective Agency. I much preferred the book to the show because the show is so non-canonical that I gave up on it after about 2 episodes. For those of you who don't know what non-canonical means, canon is the term, and I don't like that word, but anyway, canon is the term used to refer to how the book is originally. The original book, the world building, everything about that book, how it was originally done, is referred to as canon. If something is done in a non-canonical way, it is taking certain things from the book, but then it's using their own creative liberties to create other things and add other things into it, take other things out, all that kind of stuff. And Dead Girls Detective Agency kept the character names, but aside from that, it was so completely non-canonical that I did not like it. As far as movies are concerned, where I preferred the book. Yes, so I am answering that right. As far as movies are concerned, I would have to go with Vampire Academy. 100 times over, go with Vampire Academy. The book, the Volume 1 book, is absolutely amazing. When I found out this book was being turned into a film, I was so excited. And then they decided to get the guy who directed Mean Girls to direct this film that's coming from a dark YA, nonetheless, but still a dark YA book, and make it a Mean Girl comedy kind of thing, and it just absolutely disappointed me. So I'd have to say Vampire Academy there. And finally, question 41. So we actually did pretty well there. Series or standalones? I've actually been having an internal argument with myself for the past couple of days about this very question, because there is pressure that comes with a series to get through the series. Well, not necessarily, I suppose. But for me, if I love, say, with Mistborn, I definitely want to read the next book. Where with a standalone, once you get to the end, that's it. It's done. But also, there's a negative with that, because once you get to the end, it's done. But maybe you want another book, but there is no other book in the series. So it really depends on my mood and how I'm feeling. But most of the time, I'll phrase it this way. I like having a series that I'm following, and at the moment I have two. I have the Mistborn series, and I also have the Vampire Academy series that I am rereading the first 3 books. I'm up to book 2 in March. And I've read the first 3, have not read the final 3. And then, so because I have those series that I'm in the middle of, it's also good to have standalones, where if I didn't have a series, I would always like to have some kind of a series that I'm working on. Especially when I was younger, I much preferred a series because of the letdown that comes after finishing such an amazing book, only to realize there are no more coming. Series can get you trapped in that as well, though. When Harry Potter finished, for me, it was so gut-wrenching. Not the plot itself. The plot was amazing, but it was so gut-wrenching, and I don't want to overstate this, but kind of depressing, that the series was over because there was no more Harry Potter for me to read. So it can go both ways. But I honestly can't say I prefer one over the other. I like to have both going at once. And that brings us to the end of our second Fun February video for this rapid fire book tag. If you have any comments, thoughts, and or questions, leave them in the space below and let me know. Or what are your answers to these questions? Let me know there as well. Very interested to hear what you have to say as well. Letting you guys go, peace, blessings, and so much love. And I'll see you with my March TBR coming up very soon. So I'll see you then. Mwah. Happy reading. Bye guys. Bye.